Hey guys, how's it going? My name's Joe.
I'm also Joe.
Welcome to recap episode number 73. Knights of the Round, Pinball Dreams, King of Dragons, Liberty or Death, and Legend. Let's start. Knights of the Round. This is a Capcom beat 'em up, and it screams Capcom quality. Like, the game looks good, it sounds good,
Played
it
good.
plays good. It's got some neat concepts as far as like you collect money throughout the levels, and then at the end of each level, that money gives you an experience level, which upgrades you, makes you stronger, makes you hit harder, makes you tougher. But it also like physically in the game upgrades like your armor and your weapons get bigger, and so it's a visible tracker of how well you're doing, which is very cool.
I will say it also had, I'm pretty sure it was this game, when you caught on fire, it was definitely
The doll
sprite
scene,
work from
yeah, the fire
Dalsim's
sprite,
Yoga Flame.
yeah, Yoga Flame. Yeah, this was I'm almost certain an actual arcade game, and it was ported to the Super Nintendo, and it's a very capable and good one. Like there's actually very little hard as balls, which isn't a real big shock. I mean, it was an arcade port, like hard as balls. It's suction
Yeah.
quarters, but it was a really good one, and it's up there on the list of beat 'em ups. That's a fact. Like I love a good beat 'em up. And Knights of the Round is one I remember from when I was younger, and it was good then. It's good now. Like thumbs up, two
Yep.
thumbs up. Next up is Pinball Dreams, a game that we were kind of on board with playing, frankly.
I tend to like pinball.
Yeah, and it's not a bad game.
No, I would argue that it is not a good pinball game.
It is not a great pinball game by any stretch. No. If this was the only pinball game you've ever played or you were ever going to play, you would probably be like, it's okay. It's a pinball game. But the problem is we've played better pinball games. We haven't played them on this channel. I take that back. Technically, we played it on the channel. We played Alien Crush, I think, on the channel.
Yes, but there are also currently better free
Oh.
pinball games.
Yeah. The problem is this was made in 1994. Today you have the Zen and Pinball FX games, which are amazing.
Part of this is comparing games to see if they still live up to the quality that they had before,
And this does not.
yeah, it frankly just doesn't. Like it may have been good at the time that it came out, but it does not
I don't
keep that standard.
actually know if it was good at the time it came out either, because it came out at the same time as like the TurboGrafx had the Alien Crush and Dragon's Crush and Jockey Crush, like the Crush series. Those were all much better pinball games. And this one was, and frankly, it was kind of I think probably a budget pinball game. There are 4 tables. The graphics aren't amazing. They're not terrible. The music was okay. The sound was what you expect out of a pinball table. Bang, bong, boom. But you can see the problem with the screen scrolling is very erratic here. And the pinball table's pretty short. And the physics were what made it bad. Like you would hit the pinball.
The ball would go from moving at maybe a mile an hour to 17.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, that happens in regular pinball. But
It was very hard to keep track of, though. Like, first of all, the pinball moves around faster than the screen does.
yeah, that was one of the bigger problems.
And then there's just so many times where you'll be playing it and it'll hit a bouncer and just disappear, basically, from your vision because it starts moving incredibly fast, or the angle just shoots it straight down the middle.
Yeah. Now, the benefit of playing this game is Lord Goober, one of our viewers, pointed out, he's like, hey, you have a Vita. There's a couple really good pinball games on the Vita. There's a Zen pinball on the Vita. And then there's one I think called Pinball Heroes, which is 6 tables based around Sony properties for video games. Like there's an Uncharted table.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's another one he had me get, and I can't remember what the hell it's called, but it's got actual pinball tables put into it. And it's they're both very good games. And they're just on the Vita. But don't get me wrong, it's a 20-year difference in their creation. Like, they should be better, but this was pretty awful. So, unfortunately, Pinball Dreams gets a thumbs down all around. Next up, you can tell us a little about this one because you played it with your brother before I got home from wherever the hell I was. I don't remember. King of Dragons.
King of Dragons. So, King of Dragons was definitely an interesting one in the sense that it seemed almost like a beat 'em up for a D&D party.
Yeah.
You had the choice of playing the cleric, who levels up faster, but does okay damage and defense. You had the fighter, who was the all-rounder class. You had the wizard, who was a ranged character, had not too much health, but did a lot of damage. You had the ranger, who is kind of the same way. The difference between the ranger and the wizard is that the wizard could use the orbs. They're orbs that are basically just screen clears.
Yeah.
Better. And then there was the barbarian, who had a lot more health, did a lot more damage, but was really slow.
Okay.
And it took a similar idea from Knights of the Round, where as you leveled up, you increased how your character looked. You could level up like your armor, but it added another effect where you leveled up your shield and your sword as well. So like for playing ranger, you can see I leveled up my arrow to level 2.
Yeah, or
so
your
the
bow.
ranger would level up the arrow or the bow. And Louis and I learned that you can outwait the time, and if you don't collect it, you just won't collect it.
That would be an awful fact.
Yep.
There's one of the clear screen orbs there.
Yep. So you would hit it to activate it, and it was okay. The magic wasn't great.
Worth pointing out, this is also a Capcom beat 'em up. Also a port of an arcade game.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't particularly difficult.
Yeah.
It had 16 levels, but all of the levels were maybe a minute, 2 minutes long. Not even.
I don't remember. Did we finish this when I got home?
We did. So Louis and I played it for an hour, and instead of switching over to playing Legend of Zelda, I had gotten close enough to
you just kept playing,
beating it, and I had found the cheat for 99 continues that I was just like, well, I may as well just beat it. And then you came downstairs and continued playing.
And joined, yeah.
Which there's something to be said about that. Louis didn't want to continue playing it, which was fine. So he let his character die and let it game over.
And then I was still able to
But yeah, when you came back down, because we had more continues, you were able to still hit start after it.
Which I think
lost
also
his countdown timer.
I think it also speaks to the fact that it was an arcade port. Like, someone drops a quarter in, it's going to let you play.
Yeah.
But this was a cool game. The sprites and graphics.
It looked good.
Very
it sounded good.
Yeah, music and sound was good. Gameplay, I mean, it's a beat 'em up. What do you expect?
It wasn't bad beat 'em up either.
Yeah.
It was short, it was quick, but it was fun.
Yeah, good game. So 2 thumbs up, King of Dragons. Next up, a Koei joint, Liberty or Death.
I did not play this.
You didn't. You were not present on this evening. It is a Koei game.
I played Twilight Imperium that night, and I think that was a much better use of my time.
I won't argue with you. Koei strategy games. This one you would think would at least have something for us because it is based on the American Revolution as opposed to feudal Japan, which is what every other Koei game has been. Well, not true. There was the World War II one where you were managing the Navy and the Pacific Fleet. This one was American Revolution. I was George Washington. I was captured in the first battle, at which point the game goes, "You've been captured, George Washington. Would you like another one of your commanders to take over?" And I said yes. And I didn't realize when another commander takes over, that's the computer. Like, I was done. At that point, the game just played itself. Like, if you let yourself get captured and you say, yes, I would like you to continue the American Revolution, it does it without you. And there are, because it's such a deep strategy, and there are political places where you can exchange prisoners or ransom them back. So it is possible that the computer would have eventually got me back, and then I'd have probably been able to play again. But a lot of that. Like, there's no way, dude.
Did you end up playing this for the hour? Because I feel like you probably only ended up playing this for 30 minutes.
Yeah, I think I gave it about 40. I think it took me 40 minutes, about almost 30 minutes before I got captured. And then I got captured, and I think I watched it play itself for like 15 minutes while I talked to people in chat and was like, this is awful. Don't play it.
Yeah, most games seem to have a running theme of bad.
I can respect that there is absolutely a subset of people who like these games. We are not it. It's like JRPGs. It's anathema to me. Like, don't play this. Play something else. Thumbs down, y'all. And our final game for this set of 5, seizure-inducing screen. Legend, another beat 'em up. This was not a Capcom joint, although the flashing lights I just noticed are extremely similar to the ones when you beat things
in King of Dragons.
In King of Dragons, yeah. The graphics
also,
in this one
in
are
a
just
similar vein. You leveled up through money. I'm pretty sure.
in this one. I don't remember.
I don't know that you leveled up, but like it did have a big emphasis on getting a lot of money. It had weird magics, also a medieval themed beat 'em up.
Yep.
Like it was just
Everyone was smashing out beat 'em ups in 93, 94, 95. Like that was the game in the arcades.
yeah.
The graphics in this one were completely passable. They were okay. They were not on par with King of Dragons or Knights of the Round.
No, but they weren't bad.
But they were not bad. There were some strange parts where they did layers, but they did a foreground layer, and the enemies could get behind it in the middle of your screen, and you couldn't see them, which was an awful idea. Like, it was cool having the foreground layer that you walked behind, but also it was bad in the fact that it hit enemies. It had this little overworld map where it shows you kind of where you're going. There was nothing wrong with this game. Like, the music was okay, the sound was okay, the gameplay was fine, it was completely passable.
Yeah, this game by no means was bad.
No, but therein lies its problem. It was average.
Yeah, it wasn't, especially with just having played Knights of the Round and King of Dragons, and this being, for lack of a better term, a light version of those two games.
It was.
They were just so much better.
I feel kind of bad for it because it was in the middle of, like I said, that 93, 94, 95. It was a glut of beat 'em ups. And some of them just stood head and shoulders above the rest. And if you come to me and you go, hey, let's play a beat 'em up on the Super Nintendo, Legend is not going to be my pull. I'm going to pull Knights of the Round or Final Fight.
Yeah,
or,
and it's not like I would be.
you know?
I wouldn't be upset if someone said, "Hey, you want to play Legend with me?" I'd be like, "Yeah, sure, I'll play Legend."
Right.
It's
like I wouldn't turn it down,
okay game.
but it's not going to be my pick.
Yeah, no. If I were choosing, I would probably go Final Fight.
Yeah. Well, Final Fight 2, because Final Fight 1's one player. Or, I mean, if you want an exceptionally, what I thought was a very cool beat 'em up that's single player, Sonic Blast Man. Like, there's so many good beat 'em ups.
Better ones.
Yeah, and it's, again, not that Legend was bad. It just, there are better choices. So we got a thumbs down from both of us. But don't let that talk you out of playing the game. I think the game is totally playable. And if it's something you run into in the wild, it's probably cheap. I don't know. But, I mean, if I ran into it for $5, I might throw $5 at it just for shits and giggles, you know? It's not a bad game, but it did get a thumbs down. So that's it. You got 2 thumbs up and 3 thumbs down out of this set of 5. Knights of the Round, King of Dragons, thumbs up. Capcom beat 'em ups. I mean,
hard to go wrong. Capcom does typically know what they're doing.
In the 90s, Capcom could do no wrong. Like, I don't know that there is a Capcom game from the 90s that is bad. Like,
there's none that I've played that have been bad so far. But
my bet is even their bad games are better than other bad games, you know, and that's assuming that there are any bad games. Like, there were just a couple companies that in the 90s were the golden children for games. Konami was Capcom. You can't go wrong with either of those two, and those were and then first parties.
This is where Square Enix started getting big as well.
Yeah, Square Enix, anything first party Nintendo was going to be good. I mean, that's just where it's at. So, thumbs down, Legend. Sorry, man, but it's what it is. And that's it. So, thanks a lot for checking out recap number 73. We're starting set number 74. We're going to take a vacation somewhere in here, so if you're watching, you know, while we do things and you're not catching up from previous stuff, there's going to be a week-long gap between episodes dropping. So, thanks everybody for sticking with us all this time. We'll see y'all later. Have a good one.
See you guys.